Pizza Ninjas and Rare Sats on Sotheby's. That's right. Sotheby's auction where fine art is auctioned off. They're doing Rare Sats, Pizza Ninjas #1, which is also Rare Sat in itself. We're going to be showing that and talking about that on this episode. We're also going to be talking about the Ordinals event and surrounding ETH Denver. There's a ton to do, a ton going on. And even yours truly, the Pizza Ninjas are sponsoring a pizza party tomorrow, actually. We're going to talk about that here too. And overall, the Bitcoin Ordinals market absolutely ripping and so much more. This show is on X and on YouTube. We'll pull up chat either way. Feel free to insert anything into the conversation. We'll pull it up on the screen. And of course, it is brought to you by Ninja Alerts, who have absolutely been cooking with whitelist activations, about to be parties at ETH Denver, and everything so much more. And everyone's invited, by the way. For all that being said, for further updates, go follow Ninja Alerts. Go follow @TO Trevor on Twitter for all the latest news. With all that being said, what's up to the panel today? We do have a new special guest, also a fellow Ninja holder. Call me Hunch. How's it going today, man? And while you're introducing yourself, I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of the stuff I just talked about.
Okay. Yeah, well, you can call me Hunch. I just recently joined the Pizza Ninja dojo, I guess it is, the dojo. So that's pretty cool. Excited to be here. But I've been in crypto for a long time. I think 2017. So, but new to Ordinals, missed the NFT scene with ETH. So excited to be on this journey with everyone here.
Yeah. Sweet, man. When did you get into Ordinals?
Ooh, it had to have been when I heard about Track, which was a BRC20 in November, maybe early, like the 1st of November, I would say.
I remember Track. I never got involved. My one problem with BRC20s is like having to buy them like package deals. And for Track, I was just like, I didn't know a ton about it at the time. And I was just like, I don't really want to spend. It's like there wasn't any like very like good entries in my opinion. Like you had to like buy in bulk at the time that I was looking at it. And I was like, I don't want to have to buy a package in order to have to sell that same package. It's almost like NFTs. Like some of them are illiquid because of that. Because like you have to find a buyer for that like higher priced item, which obviously worked out with Track. I mean, are you still holding?
Oh yeah, I'm not selling Track. Like I think it's worth billions of dollars. Like per market cap, not per coin, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like the next Chainlink. I think it's better than Chainlink. I don't think they're feeding us the real world asset narrative. Like it's on chain narrative, which I'm really attracted to. So yeah, definitely holding it. But we'll see.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I do want to talk about real quick what I mentioned in the beginning. If you're going to be at ETH Denver, as you can see at the top, Pizza Ninjas, we are the sponsor of this event. We literally have a pizza castle to where everyone is invited. That's going to be February 28th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So you guys definitely come check that out. And I wanted to talk about the the title here of what we're going to be discussing as well. Sotheby's, man, they are auctioning off 24 different sats, starting with this beautiful Pizza Ninja #1. What are you guys thinking about seeing like Bitcoin Ordinals on Sotheby's? Because this is actually the third Bitcoin Ordinal project that I'm aware of that was on Sotheby's.
Anybody want to take it first, or you want me to?
Yeah, and I'll go for it. So I think that it's, well, for one, it's amazing exposure for Ordinals and for Bitcoin and for like the most tangible digital collectibles that exist. And Casey kind of put it that way when he spoke at our event that we held in Miami. He was right. It's like, I don't want to harp on it about it too much, but when you own an NFT on a smart contract based chain, you own a hash that points off chain. So you don't really own the artwork, you do own the hash. So if the artwork disappears, you own a hash. Whereas on Ordinals, you own the artwork, you own the file that's written on chain. Obviously, there are certain ways in which we need to be able to view them, but you still actually own the file. The file is on chain forever. And I think that Sotheby's, or Sotheby's, or however you want to pronounce it, depending on where you're from around the world, have clearly recognized that. And I think they've clearly recognized the extra layer of collectability of rare sats, special sats, exotic sats, whatever you want to call them. And I'm also of the opinion that, for example, like that Pizza Ninja #1, it's on a very rare sat, obviously. And I think that, but it needed a good piece of artwork. If I just put whatever on that rare sat, I don't think that they'd be auctioning it. So I think that they've balanced both, because I don't think the rare sat meta matters unless there is on-chain ETH art. So I will preface it. Thank you, Base Chain. There is some on-chain ETH art, but if you're going to bet on which chain is going to be around in 100 years, I'd be betting on Bitcoin. So the on-chain ETH art, it's like, I'm not going to make up the percentage because I don't know the stats, but it's a very small percentage of ETH NFTs. So like, there's no arguing that. So in regards to the rare sat, special sat, exotic sat meta, if the exotic sat doesn't match or add a layer of narrative to whatever's inscribed and is associated with it, then I think essentially it's kind of trash. And I mean that. Whereas with this Pizza Ninja, the sat adds a whole layer of canvas that actually matters and adds narrative. And I think that that's key. It's kind of like Witters, yeah? Let's go IRL with Witters. Witters could go to like, she's not going to put one of her best paintings on a piece of like, A4 printer paper. Like canvas matters. And what she does, she might imagine. But, so where you're putting the art does matter. And then, I think in this case, the art actually matters. If you just put whatever on that sat or associated with that sat, to be more correct, because it's not on the sat directly for the people who want to be technical, then I think like you almost, you'd be better off with what people are referring to as a virgin sat. Like you can almost wreck a sat, in my opinion, with an inscription, or you can elevate a sat with an inscription. And I think Sotheby's have recognized that, to circle back to the actual main point.
That's very well said. A little detail about the sat is it is a pizza uncommon. So there's only 5, I believe, of these in circulation. And then there's only like, I don't want to get this number off, but I think there's only like 20 that could even be like possible to exist. Definitely go like check that out for sure. But the point is the pizza uncommon is like a very rare combination. I agree with what you said, Eli, though. Like I think like taking that like special sat and putting like a special piece of art on it is like the ideal, the ideal thing there, though. Like that's the selling point. I will say the Pizza Ninjas, I love that they have the spotlight on this. There is a lot of other lots, and all the other ones are really just the sats. So Billy actually has, I messaged this dude because he's a regular on our show, but he's probably at ETH Denver right now. But Billy has the black rare sat, the Obsidian Zero that he's auctioning off. And I guess we'll go ahead and go over. So what I've noticed with these Sotheby's, here's some information for you, because I followed every one of them closely leading up to this. Was there's Bitcoin Shrooms, there was there's Quantum Cats, and now there's Ninjas and Rare Sats. What I've noticed with all the other two on Ordinals is a lot of those bids flow in the last like 48 hours. So I'm really interested. Honestly, I think the fact that we have 29 bids right now and we still have a couple days left is fine. And I'm really interested to see like that last 24 hours, because that's really what happened with the other two, the Quantum Cats and with the Bitcoin Shrooms. Looks like Billy's got a couple bids on his as well. He's got 4 bids on his rare sat. A lot of these don't have bids yet. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. This is, for me, like if it doesn't have a piece of artwork on it, it's like, this is like I can see the value there. It's just a very niche collector. Like kind of like you said, like Witters, like it would have to be somebody who's putting a fine piece of art on a fine sat, like that's kind of the ideal buyer I have in mind for some of this, at least, I don't know. And I'm sure they could resell just the virgin sats alone, but
it's like coin collecting though. I think like a virgin sat has a lot of value because we'll compare it to like physical collectibles. There might be like one coin pressed or one, vinyl record press of like, a Beatles album, or, like it's like I don't know the data behind it.
You said Beatle and a Beatle popped up.
Yeah, that we didn't plan that at all. But do you know what I mean? Like I think that there's a collectible for everybody, and humans have been collecting for a long time, thousands of years. And I think that if there's art or not, when there is art, I think that the art needs to make sense for the sat, but the sat could make sense on its own 100%, because if it's like ultra rare, a one of, or like a one of kind of like a small amount, a scarce amount. Humans love that, and I think that it makes a lot of sense. Like people collect, postage stamps. People collect coins. People make the joke that old grannies collect spoons. People collect all sorts of things, and when they're scarce and there's a market for it, the market will decide.
So I just going off of the collecting thing. When I go backpacking, I like to collect rocks, feathers, different things on my adventure. And I think Rocky had asked about my Ordinals project. But first, I'm inscribing on Gamma or with Gamma. I'm inscribing it myself, but doing a Gamma print. And what's cool is like all of those things that I've collected for years. And I mean, some of the stuff that I put in the epoxy is like, I mean, not only is it like thousands of years old, just like as the individual pieces, but I've had them for, God, I mean, some of them a whole life. And so going back to the sats and everything. So when you're as intentional as I am, or if you've got some grand vision to where you need your art to make sense on, like you said, Brett, that like the canvas itself needs to have importance. And whether it's the importance to the artist or to the market, I think being able to like delegate and choose which path you're going to do, that's like half of the battle with ordinals as an artist, because you have so many choices.
Yeah, I like what you said, like if it matters to the artist as well, because like I think that's an important aspect of it as well. Like I've had a lot of people not like the rare sats idea, but if you think about it from like a narrative or like why perspective, like each individual artist or project might have good reasons for that. Like the ninjas were obviously all on pizza sats. Like we're a very like retro pizza tour vibe project. So I think that adds a really cool layer of storytelling to the Pizza Ninjas. Who just minted out? Oh my God, Lifa FIFO just minted his Wizards of Ord. And they're on block 78 to pay a tribute to Hal Finney. Some people believe Hal Finney to be Satoshi Nakamoto. He was the first one to receive Bitcoin. He mined the first block besides Satoshi himself. He was an early game designer. Like, that's cool. Like, in my opinion, I mean, I think that's cool. And that meant a lot to Lifa FIFO. So it's like you can have those narratives as an artist or as a creator on the sats that just adds an extra layer to this whole thing that other chains don't have.
Did you see where they took something that Satoshi had written, I guess, in Mandarin, and then deduced it down to Hal Finney, like it spelled it out, Hal Finney.
I did, yeah. I think it was Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it was in Japanese, and some of it was in hiragana, and some of it was in katakana, because they have like 3 alphabets. And so, yeah, that was really interesting. The funniest thing that a lot of people don't know is that, the Japanese guy that he's like said, that guy Dorian Nakamoto, who said he's not Satoshi Nakamoto. He actually supposedly lived like only a few doors down from Hal Finney. So the whole thing's quite a peculiar thing. And also one thing,
Hal Finney had a Satoshi Nakamoto in his neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Well, no, it was funny. Dorian Nakamoto was
Nakamoto, okay.
So the interesting thing the other day was like Rizzo from Bitcoin Magazine tweeted out all of those emails that guy released. What's his name? I believe him to be somewhere from like Northern Europe who like emailed back and forth with whoever Satoshi may be, they be, she, he.
Adam Beck? You're not talking about Adam Beck?
No, it wasn't Adam Beck. It was I'll look it up while we're chatting. But anyway, I recommend reading through those emails. It was fascinating. And one thing which I found really interesting, and obviously, whoever Satoshi was, may have been writing in a certain way intentionally to, get eyes, if this stuff ever got released, to sort of ensure that people can really track down who they were. But Satoshi was writing so it's this guy Marty, what's his name? Marty Malmi, who was called Sirius M, who was one of like an early Bitcoin core dev. Oh yeah, someone might have linked it. Anyhow, spelt like realize with an S and spelt with like a lot of like the British grammatical way of spelling. So I thought that was interesting because like I write like that being an Australian, but then obviously Americans will spell realize with a Z or a Z, I think you call it. So there were just like clues in the. I know that they could have easily done that to hide where they're coming from or whatever, but there are like people were saying that they should analyze because obviously, there are people who can analyze writing styles and things like that to try and deduce down potentially who it was. And they even alluded to a donation that was made by an anonymous person for an exact amount. And whoever Satoshi was wrote the exact amount in one of these emails. And which I find interesting because you could almost like that can be tracked. Like that's not an untraceable thing. So a whole lot of clues were kind of released in regards to some of the early Satoshi stuff. And I think that, I don't know, I feel like the longer this goes on, we're going to find out more about who this person was or who they were.
I'm already convinced that's how funny, but that's for
no chance.
That's for another day. Hunch, man. So Track was your first Bitcoin Ordinal exposure. I got two things. I see you make content as well. So if you want to talk about that, and then specifically, like we're on ninjas, obviously. What appealed? Oh well, there goes.
What happened to him?
There he goes. What was it about the ninjas that like made you like want to get into ninjas?
Well, first of all, I'm definitely betting on Tio. I like his style. I like his grit. I like that he was an early Stacks bull before everybody else. I don't know if he was involved in Stacks, but I'm obsessed with Stacks, and I've been obsessed.
He was very much involved with Stacks.
He was an early investor. Like I work at Gamma, which is Stacks NFT marketplace as well, and he was early investor, early around Stacks. He was one of the reasons why I even ended up working in the Stacks ecosystem first. Yeah, legend. Agree.
Yeah, legendary. But I'm more long-term oriented, and Stacks has taken forever to play out. And I saw Ord Wizards pump, and more so than like Ninjas, and Ninja did have a pump. Like I don't know if you see my tweets, but I'm like a bull poster, like just posting nonsense all day long.
I love it.
I called the Pico bottom. Like I'm like, there's no way this is going lower. Like I looked at the chart and I was like, I got to get one of these things because I love the art. I think the long-term vision for pizza is by far the best in Ordinals. Just like the brand, the possibility for brand. I mean, I called Vans and I called Converse, and I'm going to call some of these other big companies, like, and just be like, look, I got this Ninja. I got ideas for you. I don't know if it's going to work out or anything.
Dude, that'd be sick. That'd be crazy.
But like, I mean, I think corporate's going to call me back, and even if they turn me down, like I just feel like long term, like there's something greater for the Ninja movement. And I see like somebody like really famous, like picking up a Ninja and like using it for like a record album cover or like something. And to me, like when you guys talk about rare sats and all that, like to me, it's like those signatures, like the people who own it, the sat, right? Like Hal Finney or Satoshi, right? Those are obviously the rarest sats, whatever's in Satoshi's wallet. So like if someone picks that up, right, and owns that pizza sat, uses it in their content, right, and time goes by, to me that's the most valuable. So long-term vision for Pizza Ninjas, and just like Stacks. So like I'm obsessed with Pizza Ninjas. Like it's on my Apple Watch. Like I show everybody. I'm like, how much I pay for this thing? Like $2,800. Like this is wild, right? Like so yeah.
I love to hear it, man, because obviously the node monks got their day, because like a lot, I mean, just the narrative of the first 10K, even though it's kind of debated, and then a lot of Bored Apes got like a 1-for-1 node monk, kind of like to go with that, so they moved. You saw a lot of other like big movers recently, but I'm also seeing like a lot of people like accumulating ninjas in the background, including like big name people like Frank from DGods picked up a ninja recently. We got a couple DGods holders. We got some pretty well-known Azuki influencers. And this is not us reaching out. This is literally just like them making like passive, things on Twitter, like responding to something and being like, hey, I just joined, or I might see them in a ninja chat or something. So that's been really encouraging to see, because it seemed, obviously like Twitter can like just have attention on like a couple things. And I get those narratives, but it's like there's just so much out there, not even just ninjas, but like Bitcoin ordinals that people are just like looking over that are just diamonds, man. And it seems like if it's not the narrative, like people dismiss it. So I've really liked seeing that, like us accumulating more important people, and then just seeing kind of across the board some ordinal projects who have really been building megapunks just like 2x. I bought those like over a month ago. You know, and like you said, Wizards of War did great, which I was excited for Lifa FIFO. Dude, that art was dope too. I really like the Wizards. Those looked really cool. Witters here is balling out. She's got 3 OMBs, so I know she's balling. Freaking almost breaking 1 Bitcoin each. Man,
what's
that's
OMB?
wild.
What's OMB?
You got like almost 3 Bitcoin in OMBs. Like, how's that feel?
It honestly feels no different than when I minted. So the biggest thing, I mean, that's still free to me. I have a target in mind, but 1 BTC is not even close to it. So I honestly had no idea that they had pumped to that level, and till I saw it all over the timeline. But yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I think every OMB holder is the same though. Higher.
No, yeah, I respect that. Yeah. Like, I mean, I think OMB like deserves a lot of respect. I think obviously they already like have the price there, so it's kind of like who's gonna laugh at us. But I don't think they get like, they obviously get a lot of attention, but like I still feel like, sometimes if people are trying to compare projects, it's like I don't really see OMB as much in the equation. But like OMB is definitely like, I love the movement. I like ZK. I want everything good coming for them. I own 0. I wish I had OMB. But we've talked about this before, but like, even like if you would have bought, like, obviously you're up tremendously, you're up like 10x, but like 0.1 Bitcoin was still like when ordinals first started, it was not cheap. Like, it's still kind of like, that's scary, like, do I throw a tenth of a Bitcoin at this like new like protocol that could or could not work out, and so you still needed that conviction, like, to do that. It wasn't like a blind like, you might have saw it, got the vision and trusted it, had conviction, and been like, oh, for me it was a no-brainer, but it wasn't like an absolute no-brainer for everybody like it might have seemed.
And I mean, I agree. Like, spending my Bitcoin is very tough, and there are very few things that I would do that on. And I'm not allowed to speak about OMB outside of Discord, and Discord is on a 2-hour. We can't even talk. I just don't think that it's wise for me to continue conversating about it.
What is this, like the Fight Club? It's like the Fight Club of ordinals? Like,
Exactly.
what? That's wild. That's
Yeah.
wild.
We got Toby in here saying go ninjas, got Lib, thoughts on legacy sats.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Just wild.
But yeah, I get it. I mean, the whole market is like looking pretty good. I mean, there's been a lot of volume with top projects. Love to see it. A lot of people that like capitulated during the bear, I won't name any names, but at Beanie, that was saying like, or literally saying that ordinals were dead and saying that like he doesn't understand the narrative. I saw him make a bull post today that's basically like all the opportunity is on Bitcoin ordinals. He didn't say that word for word, but it was around that, and I was just like, this dude just capitulated so hard. Literally telling everybody like it was just being pumped by influencers originally. Like, there's a couple people like that like all they do is bull post on the timeline now that were like 100% fudding like 6 months ago, everything. And it's like, I don't, I'm glad. At the end of the day, like, I think the more people that come on, like, the better, obviously. It's just kind of funny to see that transition. A lot of the space is motivated by money, of course. So it's kind of like once number goes up, then they kind of like, it's like something awakens in their mind. Even though it's the same product, the same whatever. That's how I feel about ninjas too. Like, we've been flooded, some of us for good reason, some of us not. But at the end of the day, like, people are going to love us more the more expensive it gets. Just how the nature of the beast. OMB is the same way. A lot of projects, it's like, oh, number goes up, oh, I see the vision now. It's just funny, like the psychology behind that.
Well, the space is funny. For example, like I work at Gamma, that's my full-time job, but I have my own project, the Pandemonium, and we put out Birds of a Feather, which is 500 of them, and the art's amazing by the artist who is a Gamma partner artist, who's a friend of mine as well and works with us art-wise for the project. And owning one also unlocks your own Audi gallery, and the Audi gallery is the only and the best like virtual ordinal gallery on Bitcoin. And like, it's, so I'm very proud of what we've done and I don't mind, but it's just funny seeing like the market decides, right? And the market said, so we minted at $40, which was like 0.001 back when BTC was 40K, and the floor price is like 0.005. So that people have had a win, but there's floor prices much higher than ours. Rocky says he loves you, but we love you back, Rocky. So my point is, I'm not complaining or anything. My point is that the market decides, and it's funny. So when something goes up, like it's like the Lindy effect. People see number go up, and then they start chasing it. They're like, oh, that must be something that I need, or wow, that art is great. And then like the art, people joke that the art gets better the higher the price goes. So I think like that, yeah, it's like a funny market. And I think what people need to do, and like OMB, the art is great. So I'm not even referring to that. I wish I held OMBs. That's a deep regret of mine. I think like one Bitcoin, it's a touch under one Bitcoin. Honestly, if you compare to like ETH prices, what they're at the top, like if you compare one Bitcoin to ETH, what's that right now? It's less than 20 ETH, right? Like there are lots of projects still above, not lots, but there's projects above 20 ETH still on ETH. So it means, in my opinion, that like OMB is probably underpriced. Is that financial advice? No, because it's a lot harder to do a 2x. But what it does mean is that like it's a quality hold. So I think like it's always sort of like worth keeping in mind those sorts of things. Don't chase everything just because the price is high. Like actually do due diligence and say like, is this something that I want to be in longer term? What is the actual capacity for like a double or a triple in market cap? Because that makes a difference. And yeah, so it's almost like having like a spectrum of where you put your money. It's like fine art. I buy fine art. I don't consider flipping it. 2, I don't consider flipping it tomorrow or in a week like you potentially do with PFPs. But then you also have to have that in mind, I think, for PFPs. So if you've got the liquid for an OMB, you know that it's a longer term hold. Whereas if it's like the next degen mint, allocate some liquid to the degen mints, but you know that you're probably going to try and get like a 3 or a 5 or whatever X like tomorrow. So I think it's like assessing that, and then also assessing the projects and what they offer, and if it speaks to you, and if it's a community that you just want to be in, or if it's like a product that you want to unlock potentially, if that's what they offer.
Yeah, if it's going to give you, also just like if it gives you that value, like if it, not every project needs
value
to give you
or
value.
sense of like intrinsic sense of satisfaction for ownership.
Yeah, exactly. As I say, it's not like a requirement. Like some projects are going to give you value. I absolutely think Pizza Ninja is one of those projects. And then some projects don't need to give you value because they said from the start, this is either just art or this is just like a project, and it's decentralized and let the community do whatever they want with it. And that's okay. Like it's hard to compare the two. It's kind of like apples and oranges of like what's going to do what. But yeah, it's like if it is a utility driven project, is this project driving me value on top of, is like, if I want it out, like, could I sell it for the same price or higher? Like, I guess like should be in the back of your mind. And then of course there's a lot of other perks. I mean, this was like one of the original things about NFTs was like, you can spend a bunch of money, hold the thing, and still get equal value to what you're holding while being able to sell it at any given point. Like our Ninja Alerts, their ETH project, our ETH project gave you access to the trading tool. Okay. Most trading tools cost you like a couple $1,000 a year. The Ninja Alerts, the passes were like 0.2 ETH or something like that. If you wanted to use the trading tool, own a pass, use the tool as much as you want. If you didn't want the tool anymore, basically almost get a refund on the tool, sell it, and then move on. It's like, it just makes sense to me. And not just Ninja Alerts, there's a lot of projects like that. Like if it gives you, I almost bought a doodle at complete capitulation. I'm pissed that I didn't. It went under 1 ETH. I always thought the doodles were pretty cool art. And they have these kids camp activations every year where basically if you bring your family, you get to go to like a kids summer camp or a kids camp. And then they did really cool events. And I was like, is that worth 0.8 ETH, whatever the doodles were at the time? I was like, I think it is. The only reason I didn't was because I can't really afford to be traveling the United States chasing these events right now. If I was in a position to where like I can travel all the time, no problem. I can make all these events. I think the doodle's value was 0.8 ETH, you know, for my life, on top of like all the other benefits it has. Now they're like 3 ETH or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's
interesting.
my 2 Satoshis on that anyways.
I got a question if I could chime in. Like, where do you see Pizza Ninjas going? Like partnerships, you see it just as an art collection? Like, I mean, I don't know much about it other than I'm obsessed with the art, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the cool part. Like, I think the art's dope. I think Boozy's dope. I think a lot of people are going to resonate with the IP. I'm already going to be selling coffee bags and doing like a coffee business through the IP. So other people are doing really cool stuff. I think, but you know, ultimately we're also a software. So I think like art and tech are the 2 biggest things. Like we've already done a lot of things like using stat endpoints and recursion and all this stuff that show that we're on the leading edge of the tech, but we're also literally creating a software. I don't know how much I'm able to speak about that. I mean, we already have a portfolio tracker and on Ninja Alerts, and then
let the alpha out. Trevor's not listening.
Our original, he's traveling right now. Our original, you know, tool was a really good trading app. It allowed you to copy trade on a social level. Like I could literally say like, oh, Hunch just traded these doodles, and I get the fastest smart notification sent to my phone with your Twitter profile picture. And like, you know, or if we're friends, I could troll you, be like, bro, you bought this stuff. Like, what are you buying? Did that all the time. So like, we're going to have tools for ordinals that are going to be innovative. And I think just the tool alone is going to speak for themselves. You know, we just hired more developers.
Wow,
so
that's sick.
Yeah. So like the art, the tech, the activations, I think we have it all. I really do. I'm super confident about it. I think during the last few months, we faced a few trials. I think we're going to get past those. I think people are going to get over it, and some people aren't. And the people that don't get over it, going to look like losers, man. You're going to be the one person in the room that's still hanging on to something. So it's like, you know, at the end of the day, just going to keep building, keep doing innovative stuff.
I missed all that. So like, I feel like I'm in at the perfect time. I have no idea about all that drama, but I'm here for the art. I'm here for the, like, just like, I don't know, the vibes, to be honest with you. So I absolutely love the ninjas. So
love it, man. Here for the vibes too. The vibes been crazy good too. Again, through the whole Bitcoin Ordinals ecosystem.
What about the guy? What about that? You can probably find it on Twitter. I can't even be bothered naming them, but this person who said that Boozy is like a Fiverr artist.
I bring that up all the time. Yeah.
I'm like, man, please. Like, that's like, it's quality engagement farming, but it's like outrageous. And absolutely outrageous comment. Like, the guy is such a talent. And you saw that, like, not just come to life through ninjas. Have a look at like his portfolio in digital art, like when he started on Stacks. So Hunch, you said you're like a Stacks fan. And he has some OG collections on Stacks. And then he was a trad artist prior to be, well, still is, but also prior to being in digital art as well. You know, different to Witters, but like, that was some quality engagement farming. I hope that person was just trying to do that, not actually accusing the artwork of being Fiverr. That was some silly stuff. But we're seeing some silly stuff on Twitter. I just think people need to be a little bit more respectful and realize that, like, this shouldn't be so PvP. Like, if your collection's doing well, great. Just like be positive about what you own and not negative about other people's stuff, because it does affect people's mental health. It really does. And it, like, I'm not just saying it. People need to understand that behind these PFPs, there are humans. It's ridiculous.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I try to give you a little heart, but I don't have the superpower to do it. I don't have
Only Witters has that superpower. Witters has the power.
Yeah, man. I think at the end of the day, like, it is about vibes, and like there's people behind this, and we're all just trying to like be in on a new technology. We're all like, our consensus is the same. Like, there's now data on Bitcoin, and that's a really cool thing. So we're exploring different ways to utilize that. And, so like at the end of the day, it's like not that serious if you have some like minor disagreements, or if you don't like one or two people involved. Like, who freaking cares, man? I'm hoping that, I'm going to a bunch of diverse events at the East Denver. So looking forward to like some of the conversations that we're going to have there, amongst like Ordinals enjoyers. Really looking forward to that. I mean, yeah, tomorrow, 24 hours from now, is our pizza event. That's one of them, but I'm going to a lot of others too. I'm really excited about it.
That's so sick. I just want to chime in because I'm probably going to have to get out of here with this newborn I got. But all this like hate talk, it makes me more bullish. It just like reminds me of me being a Bitcoin maxi and like missing out on all the ETH NFT gains, and just like I don't know. Like when something gets like so much hate, like there's probably something to it, right? So, the quality of your detractor is like the quality of the project, right? So, just like Bitcoin gets hate, I feel like maybe this is the same situation. I don't know. So maybe I'll buy another Pizza Ninja on that note. So, but that's all I have to say. Go Pizza Ninjas for sure.
Heyo, thank you for joining us tonight, Hunch. You're welcome to come back anytime, man. We do this every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're not concluding yet, but I know you're about to have to go. But yeah, feel free to join.
I'd love it, man. And the more I learn, the more I feel like I can input. So that's going to be absolutely great. So appreciate
Absolutely,
you guys.
man.
All of
Good
you.
to have you.
All right. Enjoy your Pizza Ninjas and all your ordinals.
Heyo.
Heyo.
All right, waiters. Somebody in the chat said, "Bro, can the lady have a moment to talk?" So here's I
Thank God. All right.
because
So
waiters, you need to be protected.
I know.
Every
I need
Bitcoiner
a
makes
white
sure to
knight.
tell you. Every Bitcoiner makes sure to tell you that.
So, okay, going back to FUD. FUD is always fuel and always has been. So, like, it doesn't matter what people are saying unless it's just something horrific, right? So, then okay, so that was one thing, and then the next would be like, what are the collectors feeling? Like, if they're unaffected by, or they think it's funny, or it's like a troll moment, or whatever. People are gonna talk on the timeline, especially if they don't hold any, and prices going up. And they just don't understand. There are so many ETH maxis that just won't get an Ordinals wallet. And so that's strange to me. And Bitcoin maxis are always saying that we're scam artists and all that jazz. So I just don't give it much. I used to. I used to like think about it a lot and like what people were saying, but now not. I don't even bat an eye, and it's funny. At the end of the day, it's just funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm getting there. It's hard not to like take things personal, but I feel like every project has like their own FUD. Like other people don't like them for other reasons, and it happens with every project. And if you're like either working with a project or you're really involved, it's hard not to like take that personally. It'd be like, OMB landed at a pretty good point. I'm sure ZK's got FUD. I'm sure OMB's got FUD, but like also they're like so expensive. It's like you almost have to. I feel like in this environment, you almost have to look up to FUD kind of thing. Like you suck, even though you're like 4 times my price. It's kind of they kind of have that advantage. But even at that, like I've seen OMB FUD, throughout the thing. So I don't know.
And
I
then
just think everybody.
Then it goes viral because like Hodl Solana will make just like a banger video, that he mixed the music for, and it's just then we all jump on it. So like at the very beginning, there was only 30 some holders of OMB, and then so we all adopted that, and we were like, I'm one of ZK's alts, and like you just if your collectors are feeding into that FUD and they think that it's comical, then just let it ride. And it makes it more fun too, because every time that something comes up, whether it's like OMB is just scribbles, or like all of these things have turned into like viral memes for OMB. So it is literally fuel. So please FUD. It's been way too euphoric on OMB, so please FUD it.
I like remember the Nick video? I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
When Nick didn't like the art. And somebody made that video. We need somebody in Ninjas, or I need to do that. Like, if you just like something about like somebody saying Boozy has Fiverr art, like we need somebody who just like makes that like super comical. I think that'd be awesome.
Exactly.
Like just like rip them to shreds. But
yeah, I mean, the more fun that you make it and quit, I guess, just like taking it so seriously, like the timeline is hard to, especially when everything's coming at you so fast, taking it in stride and not letting just give it a few hours. Like if something really upsets you, then just mute it. Mute those words.
That's such wise words. Witters, you have somebody here says they've been following you for the last year. First time putting a face to the name.
Yay!
Ayo.
This is my face. This is my
Witters also has an Ordinals project coming, but it is going to be one of one for her ETH holders. Somebody did ask earlier. I don't know if you ever answered that, Witters, about the if they can buy your project.
Yeah, so I decided not really last minute, but like I took a very pivotal stance at the end of December to paint and destroy all of the things that I had already spent months since May of last year. So I'm painting those and destroying them and putting them back together because, well, that's a very long story for a different day. But that's just part of being an artist. You just
Is that going to be a different collection, or is that like the same? Like, are you
Nope.
going to put it all together?
Yeah, it's all
Okay,
the
cool.
same. But what's cool is because I'm using AR, Justin Frederick's company, Art House, is doing my augmentations. And so what I inscribe, you could have multiple layers to, and I love that. Just being able to tell not only my story, but the journey that the art took, whether it was obliterated by an AR-15 or with all of the little tidbits that I'm putting into the physicals. I would definitely want and two, I've been onboarding a bunch of people that are like IRL. I know that is just like unheard of, but my collectors that have been my collectors for 10 plus years, they want access to what I'm doing on Bitcoin. And so we're like every Thursday, I do kind of like an intro to like a wallet, crypto, not giving financial advice, just kind of like showing on a big screen, like exactly what are the steps and what will that look like on mint day. And because those auctions will be not only Web3, I feel like people think that we don't have lives outside of Web3, but in IRL, I have a lot of people that are going to be battling the people that are very well versed in like auctions and crypto, and I want to make sure that they don't feel put off by that transition. But yeah,
Well,
it
depending on the amount of
crazy
pieces
journey.
you have, I know you have this figured out already, but like, you could, and Brett could help you out, make sure that like it's a one of one reservation. That way you don't have anybody like, coming in and botting, front running the people that want to support you in real life, or that love your work, do you have
No,
something
it's PvP, man. They got to
you just
get
want
in
a
line.
PvP? We got to crank that gas up.
No, I want them to experience it. And if I give them something like very, I hold their hand, they're not actually going to understand because that's part of the thrill of buying like digital artifacts is going through all the steps and then seeing if like just seeing popularity, I think is very hard to convey in the traditional art world. And if you can give them a bird's eye view of that, and it's like, oh, I couldn't get that piece because it sold out, or, or on the other end of that, like, it gives a bigger picture as to like the popularity of just this process of buying things with crypto, and that's very hard for especially the people that live around here.
I love
Yeah,
it. I love the IRL onboarding.
it's
And
super
yeah,
fun.
they gotta face the heat, I guess, if they're gonna get into it. I bought my wife her first Bitcoin Ordinal for Valentine's Day. I got her a Floriform.
What did she say?
She likes it. She loved it. She created a Twitter recently, and she made it like her profile picture. And she was like, I told her, I was like, look, this is how much it's worth. If you want to sell it, like it's your your Bitcoin Ordinal, and she like had zero interest in selling it, which is funny because I mean it's like the floor form at the time I sent it to her, which I think went back up, was like $300 something. So it's kind of like you'd almost think somebody who's not really into Bitcoin Ordinals or NFTs would just take the $300, but she didn't really seem interested. She was just kind of like, yeah, like I have no interest in selling this.
And she could, I mean, you have bags that have gone up, right, Chris?
Yeah, of course.
Just,
You're like, yeah, I'm an amazing trader.
Are you saying like she's seen that happen? And
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
what
I'm a good trader, Witters. I'm in the trenches, this bear market. But yeah, my bags are doing great. I'm no OMB holder though, so I know compared to OMB, no. But yeah, I mean, she's also just not very like she doesn't really care about financial stuff, honestly, and not for better or for worse. It's not because we're like super well off or anything. She just doesn't really interest her.
I know it doesn't. I mean, other than just seeing the number get bigger, it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, like
she's make art.
So she's a photographer, and I think like her lower end shoots, like I don't know, like a hour session or something is like $500. It's something like that. So I think in her head, it's kind of like, why would I sell this when I could just like go do a shoot, like a smaller end shoot? Like that's not worth that. So I think for her to sell something, it would probably be like, this would have to really be valuable to her. Like, it would have to be a significant amount of money to like, she could do something she has her mindset to, kind of thing. Like she actually bought some like VV NFTs. I don't know if you guys remember that, like 2021, like getting into, there's like NBA Top Shot and there's like VV. These are like Web 2.5 companies. She made like good money on that. So she actually like bought a laptop to use like for basically got it for free after trading to be able to edit like photos, like a new laptop. So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, I digress. We're kind of coming up on the end. I do want to end a little early today because I still got a bunch of stuff to do for Bitcoin or for ETH Denver. I hope to see everybody at ETH Denver or Denver. Witters, Eli, I wish I were there. One more time, just to run it back, we are doing a pizza party. Everyone is invited. It's tomorrow at 6:00 at Pizza Castle. Pizza Ninjas are the sponsor of the event. VV would be awesome if they allowed self-custody. I agree. It would have been great. So we'll see one day. But yeah, lots of events going on. Bitcoin Puppets are doing a brunch. That's really cool. Asigna and a couple of other companies are putting it on a mansion party. Obviously, on the east side of things, there's like people are just balling out. There's just so freaking much to do this week. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna try to record a bunch. I can't find my gimbal. I've been looking for my gimbal to like record a bunch, like better than just holding a phone. I need to go get on that before I leave. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna post a ton of content for us to look at next week, hopefully.
Thank God. I mean, in Amsterdam, there was no one. And then when Breakpoint happened immediately thereafter, there was so much content. But Ordinals is just like so different. I don't know. You just don't, you're in the moment. You're enjoying.
I know. Well, and I like that too. Like I enjoy just kind of like being with people, my phone face down or in my pocket, like no distractions. But I also like, definitely the Ninjas event. Obviously I'm going to be like, recording and stuff like that. But the other stuff, it's like part of me wants to document it because like I make content, and then part of me is just like, I want to be there. I mean, it's just the pain of, being in that position, but
you just need one of those harnesses or like the glasses.
Yeah.
You can just go and
maybe I'll just wear an Apple Vision Pro. Nobody will think that's weird.
No one will think that's weird.
Yeah. I'll just be recording everybody with that Apple Vision Pro.
Well, most Ordinals events, they don't want to be recorded. They're Anon. They're soups Anon.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm obviously going to ask permission, before I do anything. Probably like more interview style. Well, that being said, my camera said that it's tired for the day, so it just died. Witters, Eli, any last words before we wrap this thing up?
Nah, I don't have anything.
All right, I'll say last words for you guys. Witters has a Ordinals drop, TBA, so be following her at Land Whisker. You see it on screen. Eli already has an Ordinals project. Go pick that up right now.
Yo,
Allows you, it's Birds of a Feather, allows you to be able to have your own Ordi gallery, and the art is really cool. Very good entry right now, not financial advice, of course. And he also works for Gamma, so I'll be seeing some of your peeps out there this week.
yeah, and you're in Denver? Because we're gonna have there's gonna be an IRL gallery for partner artist artwork. So
yes, I'll be in Denver. Hook me up with whatever I need to get into.
That.
I'd appreciate that. Slide me something, like, hey, let this guy in there.
You'll be VIP, man. You'll be VIP. It's Chris.
I've been late to sign up for some of these things, and I have missed the list. But with all that being said, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you guys next Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern Time.